Hey guys, it's Ross going on Space Coach. Continuing our look at my aviation library, I've pulled this from the depths of the vault. And this is one of the very, very first books I ever owned of any kind. And I do believe probably the very first plane book as well. Planes and Airports by Chris McAllister. Again, it's another classic Gatwick lineup. A Wardair 747. A Braniff 747. That would have been going to Dallas. This may be going Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary, who knows. Canadian Pacific, another Canadian airline, in a DC-8 in the classic orange colours. That is a Transamerica DC-8. I'll just bring that a bit closer. Though it might be calling itself Trans-International. Yeah, because they changed their name from one to the other, and I can't remember if it was Transamerica first and then Trans-International. And then there is, I think, a Caravelle, and from that livery, I believe that is a Swiss airline called CTA. I don't think it's actually Swiss Air, they've all been phased up to ever even flew them. Then here, a couple of British Caledonian DC-10s, a Delta TriStar, and what is this? Is that a British Caledonian BAC 111? I think it's a BAC 111. And there's another BAC 111 there. Then just on the back, BA in the classic Arthur and Aegis colours, when they dropped the word Airways from the name. Just British. So, a JAT 727. So obviously that's Yugoslavia. The airport scene. And there, of course, is that one again. This book, there's pictures in here, a hugely formative effect on me as a child, including that one. But there's a one later in that you'll see in a few moments of a British Caledonian DC-10 and a British Airways TriStar 500 on opposite pages. And that just caught my imagination so much as a child. An Aer Lingus 737-200, an Air UK, that'll be a BAC 111. Yes, that's in Norwich. And a Leica DC-10. This was another one that had a big impact on me as a child. And there's a view of Gatwick as it was in the late 70s, early 80s, which is when this came out. So it's basically, yeah, it's essentially, it is the same shot as this, just from a slightly different angle, because it's all the same planes. I'll leave it for a moment. So you see the two BCAL DC-10s next to the TriStar. Then there's the Wardair and Braniff planes here, and the CPA and all that sort of stuff. So classics, Fokker F-27, or whatever the predecessor of the F-27 was. Oh no, the F-50 was the successor, sorry. DC-3 and a Viscount, I think that is. Yes. Handley Page Herald here in Air UK. And a British Caledonian 707, a very nice picture. Finnair Caravelle with a Wardair DC-10 in the back, so this would have been Gatwick. British Midland Airways, as they were then, later just British Midland, then BMI, and a British Caledonian BAC 111. So that's a DC-9, sorry, British Midland. A Tupolev 134 of Czech Airlines, whatever they were calling themselves, CSA, sorry, and there is a very attractive picture of an Iberia 727, and that livery is far superior to the one they have now. Pan Am SP, BA VC-10, and a lot Tupolev 162, sorry. This is the one. These two images, when I was a child, it just went right into my head and lifted the top of and just let the universe in. Seeing these two pictures, I was just filled with wonder and imagination. Where was this going? You know, what must it be like to be on board? And this one as well, it's just beautiful. And I had a model DC-10, one of those Airfix kits, when I was a kid. And I actually had a TriStar as well. I had a TWA TriStar later, I think. Had a bunch of different ones. There's an Air France A300. This is back before Airbus was massive. And here you see the cabin, I assume, of the A300. And I'll tell you, A300. Now, I actually painted this in art class in school back when I was probably in my early teens. We had to like draw and then paint something. And so this is what I did. So I've got the tracing paper with the grid and transpose it all. And I've got it still. I'll dig it out at some point and show it to you. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible either from what I recall. So yeah. And what was that one? That was a British Caledonian plane. So it's probably a DC-10. Because they did have 747s, but much later. The big four, as they were then, 747, DC-10, TriStar, A300. What would it be now? The big 10, because there's so many, isn't there? Different jets. Concorde and a KLM DC-10. Laker Airways, back 111, so for their scheduled services. And a Pan Am TriStar with some of the cabin crew. That's not enough cabin crew for a TriStar, surely. 3, 6, 8? I don't know, maybe it was. So yeah, there's not that many pictures of Pan Am TriStars, unfortunately, and it just looks beautiful in that livery. Another airline long gone, Air Europe, Dan Air, of course. The 748, saw these at Newcastle a bunch of times as well. And their 146s. BCAL DC-10, Avio Genex, another Yugoslav carrier, Tupolev 134. They also flew 737s and a Tarom 2154. And I saw those coming into land. You could still see Soviet-built planes of Eastern European airlines coming into land at Heathrow, certainly the late 1990s and the early 2000s. But then they all got phased out. Yes, the Fokker F-28 Fellowship, the predecessor of the F-70 and the F-100. And there is Czechoslovak Airlines Yakovlev Yak-40, the Codling, or was it the Yak-42? Yeah, the Yak-40, the Codling, one of the ugliest planes ever built. Then we just have some small commuter types. Tyrolean Airways, I've flown on them on one of their Fokker 70s. But it was as an Austrian Airlines, what do they call it, code share. And it was painted in Austrian colours. It was from Vienna down to Ljubljana. It's about a 30-minute flight. I've still got the little glass that served the wine in. It's got Tyrolean on it that I acquired from that airline. There's just a few more. This must be about it, yeah. Very nice image of a Hawker Siddeley 125 business jet. And just some cargo loading operations, JAL 747, a Lufthansa 707 freighter, which I didn't know they had. Then this just looks like a Logan airplane, Air Cost. And then Trans-International, we saw the DC-8 earlier, and a Super Guppy with an Airbus wing. This was another image I always loved of this Air India 747 taking off or landing in the rain or in the wet. Yeah, it's leaving, it's departing. Then Dan Air 727, BA Trident and a BA Concorde. And then a BCAL DC-10 taking off from the runway. And again, that was another image that I just found absolutely captivating. And this is the cockpit of the DC-10. I think that's the last. Nope, not quite. Just a little map of the air routes of the UK as they were back then. And Ireland too, of course. With a little bit of traffic control. And that is it. It's just indexed. So yes, this was a book that had a massive impact on me as a child and as a teenager. As a lot of the ones I got at that time did. Because I had never travelled. Had never been on a plane. I was desperate to see the world. Of course, since then I have. But yeah, a real blast from my past, a real treasure of my childhood. I look at this every now and again still because some of the pictures in there, they're quite kind of unique. You don't see a lot of them in the modern books, unfortunately. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed Planes and Airports by Chris McAllister. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment or suggestion for a common topic you'd like to see discussed. Or like the video.